I'm the Canadian Express, and I'm going to be doing my deck profile of the Heraldic Beasts. I ran it today at my local 64-bit castle. I went 3-2 in Swiss, then lost in top 8 to Dragon Rulers. Deck was fun. I enjoyed playing it. I definitely wouldn't run the same build next time. There's a lot of card choices I made that could have been better chosen, a lot of things that didn't work as well as I thought, a lot of gimmicky plays that I would get rid of, but that's why you test these things at locals. So let's get started on the deck profile here. To start, we have 3 Heraldic Beast Leo, Searcher of the deck. Anytime you send to the graveyard from anywhere, you automatically search your deck for Heraldic Beast except for another copy of Leo. You can only use 1 per turn. And turn he's normal summon, he's instantly destroyed. It was really good. Got over Thunder King Ryos when I needed to. Foolish Burial, using him as Exceed materials, detaching to search and then re-bringing him back. It was a great card. I definitely don't regret running 3. 3 Aberconways. If you have 2 copies of Aberconway in your graveyard, one of them will banish the other one, and then you add a Heraldic Beast from your graveyard back to your hand. The effect was really good in any duels where I played against stun or anything like that. Because of the grind game, I could just keep going for the advantage, grab the Leo back, summon the Leo, attack, Leo dies and searches, or I make an Exceed and search. It was really good. I didn't think the effect was going to be so useful. It definitely helped. Plus, he's an 1800 attack wind monster, so great Leo search and great to make Lightning to Chidori. So that was a good choice. 2 Heraldic Beast Basilisk. This card never came up. I would still run 2 though. I don't like running 3. I think 2 is a better choice, especially in case you're playing against an Evil Swarm player. Good answer to Ophion. It also doesn't target, so anything where that matters, that's a great advantage. 3, I think it's too cloggy, and the reason I don't run 3 is because I run 1 more Heraldic Beast card, Heraldic Beast Twin-Headed Eagle. This card's effect didn't come up at all in the tournament, but I've still used it through testing. You banish from your graveyard, select 2 Heraldic Beast monsters in your graveyard, attach them to one of your Exceed materials with no materials, and, you know, it's also a level 4 wind monster, so once again, Lightning Chidori plays. I find the 3 Aberconways aren't enough to make Lightning Chidori consistently. If something were to happen and I decided I didn't like Twin-Headed Eagle, I would take it out for another Basilisk, because you run out of search targets for the Leo surprisingly quickly. On to the ways that I made my Exceed summonings easier is 3 Kagito Kage. One of my favorite cards right now in the deck. When you normal summon any monster, you special summon him from your hand. You can't use him to synchro, and you can't normal summon him normally, but he's a reptile. So King of the Feral Imps can search him out. Makes a lot of great plays with a lot of great pluses. My favorite play would be summoning the Leo, special summoning the Kagito Kage, overlaying for King of the Feral Imps, detaching the Leo to search both the Kagito Kage and a monster off of Leo's effect, so you can make another rank 4 Exceed next turn. It costs you no card advantage whatsoever. It's one of my favorite plays. I also had the 1 Photon Thrasher. He definitely put in a lot of work. I didn't think he'd be that good because this deck is very easy to overcommit with, and it's not punished as much as a lot of other decks. So I was only running 1. I would bump that up probably to 3. What I would take out for that would be the Summoner Monks. Summoner Monks were definitely underwhelming. I was really excited to play them. I thought it'd work a lot better. Pitch a spell, special summon a Leo from the deck. I went up running 17 spells, so Summoner Monk having discard outlets wasn't a problem. The problem was the best time to use Summoner Monk was on turn 1. But on turn 1, all of your spells are useful, all of them are live. You don't want to start pitching away Forbidden Chalices in case you're playing against a deck that you need to stop effects, or MSTs against a deck like Evil Swarms, so I found him very useless. There's actually one game where I could have won, but Summoner Monk would have had to switch himself to defense, so I couldn't attack for game. So I probably will take those out for Photon Thrashers in the future, and coupled with the Kagito Kage, I'd be able to run Black Luster Soldier. For now, that's it for the monster lineup. That's 15. Onto the spells. 3 Advanced Heraldry Art. Best card in the deck. The only reason I make this deck, if this card didn't exist, there'd be no point in running Heraldic Beasts. It's that good. You special summon 2 Heraldic Beasts from your graveyard and immediately use them to Exceed summon a rank 4 monster. You can't do anything in between. You can't use other monsters to go in on it. But it's a 1 card, any Exceed from your deck, and it also re-triggers cards like Leo. The only downside is if they max C, they wind up drawing 2. You can't decide not to use the effect to Exceed summon, but it's still one of the best cards in the deck. You want to hold on to it. It's great for power plays late game. It gets you crazy advantage, crazy plays. Also 3 Heraldry Reborn, a monster reborn for Heraldic Beasts. It's not bad. It lets you bring back your Leos, and since Leo replaces itself when it dies, you almost always can play it just to grab a Leo and swing for another 2,000 damage. That's a really big chunk of life. And Leo only dies when he's normal summoned. So if you special summon with Heraldry Reborn, he'll stay on the field. You can also bring back a Aberconway, normal summon Aberconway, make that very powerful Lightning Chidori play. I definitely would not run less than 3. I've tested 2. 2 just, you don't draw them as often as you want, and you really want these cards along with your Advanced Heraldry Arts. We also have 3 Forbidden Chalice. I was running this instead of the Effect Veiler's Fiendish Chains Breakthrough skills, mostly because of the fact that I ran the Summoner Monk. Now that I'm going to be taking out the Summoner Monk, this card's just not as good. If you can't make level 8 Synchros and do the Colossal Fighter Max C, deck them out OTK, there's no point in really running Chalice, so I would take these out for Effect Veilers. There's a lot of duels, especially in the Dragon Ruler matchup, where I wished I had the Effect Veiler over the Forbidden Chalice. It was just not as good. And I also have 3 MSTs. Once again, running it for Summoner Monk. I like 3 MSTs in any main deck I run. I try to always fit it in, but I feel like I need to cut this down as well. 2 or 1 would do. A lot of times Lances were better. It was a very underwhelming card compared to a lot of the other things. In a lot of decks where I run triple MST, it pays off a lot more. So I'll definitely probably take out 2 of them and put in 2 Forbidden Lance instead for next time. Then for the 1-ofs, I got the Foolish Burial. You simply send your Leo to the graveyard, you search. It's a great card. It makes your entire hand live. You can have a handful of 6 spells, and if you got Foolish Burial, that can make the entire hand run. You send the Leo to the graveyard, you search for any of your Heraldic Beasts. You probably have a Heraldry Reborn to bring back the Leo. You Exceed summon with the Leo and the Heraldic Beast that you send to the graveyard, or in the Heraldic Beast you added to your hand with Leo, sorry. And right there you just get plays. You Laval Chain for more pluses, or you King of the Feral Imps for more pluses, Maestroke for defense. So it's definitely a great card in this deck. We got the Heavy Storm, staple, Monster Reborn, staple, Dark Hole, semi-staple. I still like it, especially in a deck like this where Leo triggers, where you can save yourself with the Maestroke and reattach the materials later on with Twin-Headed Eagle. And I also have 1 Mind Control. Mind Control, didn't like it that much. I thought it'd be a little bit better, especially because the entire deck exceeds rank 4s the entire game. But there's one time it was useful when I wound up stealing a BLS and banishing itself. Aside from that, the Mind Control, pretty much I set it and let them MST it as MST bait to get cards out of their hand. I'll probably be taking this out for a Book of Moon. There's a lot of situations where I wish I had a Book of Moon over Mind Control. Book of Moon is chainable. It's better to stop plays, and you can, it's more useful than this Mind Control was. So that's 17 spells. Onto the traps, I run 9 traps. 2 Bottomless Trap Hole. I like Bottomless Trap Hole. I want to keep it in. At the very least, I'd always side deck it. I'd never take it out of my deck completely. I think it's a really good card in a lot of matchups. 3 Compulsory Evacuation Device. Really like this as well. I wound up siding it out a lot because, like I said, I played a lot of stun. I played a Lightsworn player. I wound up losing to the Lightsworn player, and I played a Monarch player. I wound up losing to the Monarch player. Compulsory just didn't help them because of the fact that they want to be back in their hand. They can do things. They can drop their JD again, or they can use their Lumina next turn. I wanted to get rid of the monster. But I still want to run 3. When the format changes, if dragons are completely taken out of the formula, who knows, I might take it out for something else. I haven't decided yet. One thing I have been considering is Skill Drain, because the only monster who activates on the field would be the Summoner Monks, which I'm taking out, and the Heraldic Beast Basilisk, which never really came up too often. Meanwhile, I can make bigger Xyz monsters. I can make the Gigo the Risen if I need to, 3 level 4s, not that hard to play. The Gem Knight Pearls, things like that. I've been considering that build. I'm going to be testing that, maybe having a video later on with that. 2 Phoenix Wind Blast. In my head, this was an awesome idea. You activate it, you discard a Leo, you bounce a card back to the top of their deck, and you search for Leo. In practice, I rarely had that play go off, and 9 times out of 10, I was bouncing back an Xyz monster just to the top, just back to their extra deck, and it just felt like a worse Compulsory Evacuation Device with the cost. Yes, there was one time when against the stun player, round 1, his name's Nick Dixon, I bounced back his Safe Zone a couple times. That way, in that respect, it was a little bit better than Compulsory Evacuation Device, but I had to discard cards that I would have liked to hold on to instead. So in my entire experience, either a Dust Tornado or a Compulsory Evacuation Device would have been better almost every time I had the Phoenix Wind Blast, so I'll probably be taking those out. It's a shame I really got excited about them, but, sometimes tech doesn't work as well as you want. And Vanity's Emptiness, 2 of these. I love this card, it works really well. There's a lot of ways to turn this card off on your turn, be it Foolish Burial, the 3 Mystical Space Typhoons that I ran, and for the most part, it's a lot like Royal Oppression back in the day, where you would make your big boss monster, you'd activate Royal Oppression when they tried to make their big boss monster, and you just control the game from there. So I'll make a big Xyz, like for example, King of the Feral Imps, or Evil Swarm Orboros or anything like that, and then I'll sit on the Vanity's Emptiness. I'll flip it up on their turn when they try to special summon. It really hurt the Lightsworn player when he tried to Monster Reborn my own monsters, and I flipped it up. It was pretty much game over from there. And then on my turn, I can just simply activate one of my spell cards or trap cards, turn it off, and then go from there and just continue to wreck on my turn. So that's the main deck, 41 cards. For the extra deck, we have a Photon Papilloperative. This will be a Diamond Dire Wolf once I finally get my hands on one. I don't know why I don't own one, I just never got around to getting one. And Diamond Dire Wolf is very good in this deck where you can destroy your face-up Leos, and plus like crazy off of that. You don't destroy himself like in a lot of decks. One Evil Swarm Orboros, I really like this card. 3 level 4s obviously, so I can't use Advanced Heraldry Art to make him, but it's a very simple formula just to bring on an Orboros, and I've used him 2 or 3 times. I wound up getting a person into top deck mode. Unfortunately, it was a Lightsworn player, and he top decked like Lightsworn players do, and wound up beating my pants off. But I definitely I don't mind running him at all next time. The Gaga Cowboy, staple. Shockmaster, never brought him out, but I still want to keep him in. 2 Abyss Dwellers. There were 2 or 3 Dark World players at locals today. I didn't play a single one of them. However, if I had played one of them, I'm sure this guy would have put in work. If it becomes the point where there's a lot of Dark World players, a lot of Mermail players, a lot of decks like that revolve around in the graveyard, I need to shut down, I would consider putting in Tin Goldfish, just so I can get off those turn 1 Xyz like I have been with my Kage Tokages and my Photon Thrashers, and I can make a 2200 attack Abyss Dweller. That's definitely in the works, but depends on what happens next format. Obviously, it wouldn't be as good against Fire Fists, so there's no point in talking about it unless something happens to Fire Fist that would keep them away from the tier 1 and above status. The One Lightning Chidori, definitely great card. A lot of players don't set that much, so you never got the great +1 off of Exceed summoning him, which is a shame. But I still want to leave him in there. I got 4 wins. That's enough to bring him out, especially bringing him out reliably over and over again. I only need 1. I can't imagine a scenario where I'd want to make 2, or where I'd have the means to make 2 easily without minusing myself. But next format, when it slows down, he'll be a much better card. Number 8, Heraldic King Genome Heritage. This is their Xyz monster. You have to use 2 level 4 Heraldic Beast monsters. You copy the name and effect of one of your opponent's Xyz monsters, and their attack goes down to 0. So, and copy the attack of them as well. Yes. So I used this against a Madolche player. Tiara Masu, he had his Madolche field spell card, Madolche Chateau, which wound up actually being really good because I stole his name, so I was considered a Madolche monster. He went up to 27. It was a good play. On my part, I was pretty happy for it. The problem is it's 2 level 4 Heraldic Beast monsters. Very hard to get that off unless you're using your Advanced Heraldry Art, and most times there's a better Xyz you can go for it. The only time I could ever picture this being very useful is if your opponent has the big eye on the field, and you can Heraldic King Genome Heritage to steal the big eye, and then copy the big eye, then steal it, then steal something else with the original big eye. But that never came up because I played the one Dragon Road player, and he ran the game the entire time. Maestro, staple, also a great card to get your Twin-Headed Eagle off. Black Chip of Corn, staple. Degusto Emerald. I don't run Pot of Avarice because early game you just can't use it. You need those monsters in the graveyard so you can get off your plays with Advanced Heraldry Art and Heraldry Reborn. But mid to late game, Degusto Emerald is a much better choice. You return back 3 Xyz monsters to draw a card. Is very common play. I was very glad to have this in my extra deck. Number 85 Crazy Box. For the obvious, I run the viruses in the side deck. I actually wound up trying to use his effect. I didn't have a choice. I was playing against the Lightsworn player. He had Judgment Dragon on the field. I needed to roll a 5 or a 5 or a 4, just so I could attack over it and he'd deck out next turn at the end of his turn and I'd win. But unfortunately, I rolled a 1, half my life points, and I still would have lost anyway, so it didn't make a difference. But it was really fun. It added a new level of excitement to the game. One Fairy King Alberdeach came up once. Great card. 2 Earths to make him. Decrease the attack of all monsters on the field by 500. He's great for main phase 2 after they drop a Gores, which can happen sometimes. So I definitely want to keep the 1 in. And King of the Feral Imps. I love this card. He's amazing. Searches out your Kage Tokages. As soon as Masked Chameleon comes out in Judgment of the Light, I'm going to be putting in probably 1 or 2 of those with the Photon Thrashers. And this guy will search out them too, so I get some crazy plays going. I definitely might even consider putting a second in. I don't know what I'd take out. I'd probably take out the Abyss Dweller. Moving on to the side deck. The side deck was prepared for more of a casual locals because I wasn't expecting the 2 Dragon Ruler player and the 1 Spellbook player. But I had the 3 Mind Crush. Decent card against a lot of different decks, against Fire Fist, which I know we have, against any kind of deck that would search. You never know if I was playing a mirror match, if I was playing any deck that would reveal their hand a lot. Heroes. So I figured 3 Mind Crush to cover a lot of bases. 1 overworked. Once again, Fire Fist, but I also know that sometimes there's Gravekeeper players, and there was a Madolche player. I sided in, it never came up, but it would have been nice to wipe their field of all their Madolches. They'd all go back to their hand, but at the very least, I mean, it's a chainable destruction for all the Fire Fists. 2 Eradicator Epidemic Virus, and 2 Deck Devastation Viruses. These never came up, but I kept them in my side deck, and I'm probably going to keep them in my side deck, especially for next format. This is great against 3-axis Fire Fist. King of the Feral Imps is a target, Black Ship of Corn is a target, and Crazy Box is a target. It's also a target for Eradicator Epidemic Virus. I sided this against the stun player, trying to hit all his traps. It never came up, however, I still won the game. And there was a Spellbook player there at locals, so it would have been nice if I played the Spellbook player to know that I have 2 Eradicators coming in game 2 and 3. This deck's fit those so many easy rank 4s that hitting the Crazy Box would have not have been a problem. 3 Maxis, Dragon Rulers, Plant Synchro. I played a Harpy deck and I sided in the 3 Maxis. These were a big help. I don't like maining them right now. I might get back to maining them soon because I do miss them a little bit. But for the most part, next format, you know, I don't think Maxi will be as big as Effect Failure, so I'm going to probably keep them in the side deck. We'll see about that. And 2 Thunder King Royals and 2 Kaikus. Anti-meta cards. We got Spellbook hate, Dragon Ruler hate, any kind of deck searching hate, any kind of, you know, Synchron deck hate. So these 2, I side them in every now and then. It's more when I have cards in my deck that are useless, like Vanity's Emptiness against Heroes. Vanity's Emptiness is useless against Heroes, but Kaiku's not bad and Thunder King Royal's not bad. So I take out the useless card and put in not bad anti-meta cards. So that's the deck right there. Like I said, I went 3-2. Not very happy with the way it turned out, but I hopefully will have a new deck profile for you coming up soon. I'm going to be working on a Box of Friends deck. It's going to be really exciting. I'm hopefully going to be running it next load because we'll do this exact same thing. Until then, thanks a lot for watching, YouTube. And the Canadian Express is signing out.